Hello everyone, my name is Wayne.
And I'm Rebecca.
And we are your Bourbon Journey.
Welcome to episode 25 of Bourbon Trail Tales and Tastes. Just like last week, it's December 18th of 2022, but now we're heading to Pembroke, Kentucky, where MB Roland Distillery resides. This is our 30th distillery and our 23rd stamp on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. In addition, this is part of the Stateline Whiskey Tour. I'd like to share a little bit about the Stateline Whiskey Tour. So let's share some photos and I'll tell you a little bit about it. You can pick any place to start, but it depends on where you're coming from. There is Old Glory Distilling Company in Clarksville, Tennessee, Casey Jones Distillery in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, and MB Roland Distillery in Pembroke, Kentucky. They all joined forces to make the Stateline Whiskey Tour. It's kind of a self-guided tour if you're going to all three. We were able to complete the Stateline Whiskey Tour in just one day. And as you go along, you get a shot glass from each distillery. And at the last place, you get a stave to save your shot glasses. So how fun is that? I hope you'll join the Stateline Whiskey Tour and tell us all about it. So when we visited MB Roland, we got our second stamp and our second prize, the shot glass for the Stateline Whiskey Tour. But now let's talk a little bit about our visit to MB Roland.
It was a nice little place. I remember the tour was relatively small, and the most unique thing that we saw there was it was the first time we had seen a non-Vendome still. Mm-hmm. We saw a Triton and the Trifork and everything, which was just so cool looking.
It was really pretty.
Kind of looked at the different things they had. They had some, I think they had like an area with mash. We then walked over to where they had the rick houses.
Yes, the rick houses, pretty nice open buildings. And this whole property is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's on a really old, large Amish farm that they've taken over and turned into a distillery, which is kind of funny. But, so walking over and seeing the rick house, and that was the first time I got to meet Red, their distillery cat, and he's still there. We were there not that long ago, and Red was still there. He came up to greet us. He can be grumpy some days, but we're kind of like cat whisperers, so it's okay. And he's pretty cool. And so we got to stand out there and talk about their barrel process and how they do things. And then the other thing that was really cool is they used to have, because it used to be a working farm, it actually had a tobacco house.
Yes.
And where they used to dry out tobacco leaves and such. They actually use that today to smoke some of their corn and things that they use in their, what they call their fire bourbon and fire whiskey. There's another name I may be getting it wrong, and I will put it up on a label to correct myself, but it's like a fire whiskey, and it's basically super smoked grains before going into the mash. So it has this, this is actually done in the grains in a way that the grains are smoky. We don't have any of that. I have so wanted to love it. And we've tried it on each visit, and it's still not quite my profile. Maybe someday it will hit, but I've tried it each time. Mm-hmm. It's just a little smoky for me. And again, just like last week, we had our friend Cindy Ledbetter with us, who was traveling her first day with the Wayne and Rebecca tour. And so she was pretty excited about everything. But their main room, like their visitor center, let's say, it's like an old farmhouse, basically. I mean, you walk up and it's got an old porch, and they have several cat bowls up there because they now have numerous cats besides Red. And you go inside and they have their gift shop as well as their bottle area, and of course restrooms, things of that nature. But the tasting was pretty large.
Yes.
I mean, they gave you a choice of, because they do a lot of flavored moonshines, and then they do ryes, and they do bourbons. Then they have those fire things that they do as well that are really smoky. So, and they have things that are aged, things that are younger. So you could kind of pick a certain number of things that from each area to make your tasting. So you had a lot of customization, so to speak, for what you wanted to try. You might try 2 moonshines, you might try 3 whiskeys, things like that. So it really gives you a great opportunity to taste a lot of things. I will say they've always been very generous because we're big buyers. We go places, and if they see that you're actually buying and not just there to drink their free samples, if I looked at something like what we're going to taste in a little bit, this 8-year-old, which we've never opened before today, by the way. I mean, I asked for a taste. Normally they would charge like $3 for a small pour of that, but because they saw that we were collecting so many bottles to purchase, they just poured it and let us taste it. Because if I'm going to spend a little bit more, I would like to taste it and make sure I like it. So, but I think it was a great tasting.
It was. I ended up, the first time we were there, I did a count because I was really curious, and the amount of pours that they had that day were 19. It's a wide variety, and it's actually good variety too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and they also have a cocktail bar.
Yes.
And they invite you, like when you first arrive and check in, that you can get a cocktail and take it on the tour with you if you want to. So there's those options. And they're just super friendly people. We've always enjoyed going there and doing their taste, and they make really good juice. So
They do.
yeah. So should we jump into the taste part of this?
Yes.
Well, I'm very excited because, like I said, we have not opened this bottle before today. We bought a 7-year-old and an 8-year-old that day, and we have hit the 7-year-old a bit, but for some reason we never opened the 8. So let me tell you a little bit about this before we jump into the tasting. So this is an MB Roland Single Barrel Bourbon 8-year. It is a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey made by MB Roland Distillery. It is 78% white corn, 17% rye, and 5% malt. It is aged 8 years. The proof is 116.2. It was a char 4 on the barrel. It is barrel number 119-14E, and this was bottle 52 out of 181. On December 18th of 2022, when we were there, we paid $124.95 for this bottle. I obviously really thought it was good that day, or I probably wouldn't have paid $125 for it. So let's take a look. It's dark.
Yes.
That
was dark. The first thing we were talking about before the camera went on with this is the color.
And you can look at the bottle. The bottle's dark. The glass is dark.
I mean, this is actually closer to a dark mahogany than a medium mahogany or a medium amber. It's really dark.
And it's really got the brown notes, and it's got some undertones of a light reddishness to it. It's got some fantastic legs forming on my glass, which I'm excited about.
I've got my rim going.
Yeah, I got the.
Again, I don't have any legs yet, but I've got some stuff.
I do.
I got some stuff that's forming that looks like it's gonna be more than beads.
I need to take a sniff of this. Yeah. Oh wow!
Oh wow! Yeah.
We both said, "Oh wow." Now, MB Roland does have a nutty profile, and the nuts are always rich and creamy, nutty smell, almost peanut butter like, right?
This is if you're somebody that likes grains, this bottle's for you.
Well, and we haven't tasted it yet, but it's got this sweetness, and it's got white corn, and white corn is usually a little bit sweeter than yellow corn.
Yeah, I think that's the corn I'm getting.
I like the nose. It does have 17% rye. That's a pretty good amount of rye too. So I'm getting a little spiciness. Well, I'm ready to taste it. It's been sitting here for over 2 years waiting for us to drink it. So
and now I've got legs on it.
I'm excited. So to MB Roland, reliving this first visit there, and we have been there since. Cheers to your 8-year-old.
Cheers. Corn.
I'm just going to say this. If we had opened this before, we would not have it available to taste it today.
There's a strong possibility that would be true.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's got. I am getting some grains, but it's not because it's young, because this is not young. This is it's mature. It's an 8-year-old. It's got some really lovely nose notes and some great palate notes. And that nuttiness that I was getting on the nose has transferred, and it's very creamy. It's almost peanut butterish for me. Because I'm loving this creamy mouthfeel with this, and the nuttiness and the creamy. It's almost a brown sugar. I couldn't
Good
place
call.
it on the nose, but now that it's on the palate with that peanut, it's almost like this brown sugar with peanut butter kind of thing going on. I'm not getting a ton of spice notes on the palate.
And that brown sugar is, I think, more of like almost a burnt brown sugar, not like a really sweet one.
Yeah,
it's a little heartier, and
it's mature.
And
This is a mature bourbon.
and the malted barley is there, definitely. I know it's there all the time, but the flavor is.
The fact that you're tasting it,
I pick it up. And
I mean, pretty much you got malted barley in just about most bourbon, but you don't always pick it up. So
Right.
I think they treat their grains really carefully, right? And they respect the grain, so to speak. And a friend of ours says that, Alan Bishop, all the time. You got to respect the grain, and I think MB Roland does that as well. And I'm enjoying this a lot. It feels like it has layers and layers for me, which is a great thing, and that comes from that viscosity as well as a great process when they made it. I think it's really good. That creaminess, the peanut piece, the dark brown sugar, it's almost going to, caramelized kind of thing, caramelized sugar kind of a thing. Yeah.
And I think the little bit of the rye spice is there. And I think that's probably what's keeping this from being a sweeter bourbon. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. I think it's keeping the profile to, once again, another savory type bourbon, but with a little bit more sweetness to it in this case.
Yeah, I'm just really pleased with it. I'm finding it comfortable to drink. And what did I say? It was 116 something proof, and it is smooth as silk. And I'm not sure I would have guessed 116. I probably would have guessed 110 with it. Because it's just so evolved and so soft. But I think the longer years in the barrel kind of soften that a bit for me. Are you getting anything on the finish?
I've just took that taste there one last time, try to get anything specific. And it's all the same. I will now taste it to go ahead and try to get a finish.
Yeah, again, I just took that nose in. I'm loving this nose. And I don't know if you're like us, but as the glass gets a little more empty, the nose seems to open up more. More things come forward because there's less alcohol in your glass. That kind of burnt brown sugar with the creamy peanut butter, a hint of rye spice. It's kind of like ryegrass spiciness, so to speak. And then on the finish, I'm getting like pops of black pepper. I'm definitely getting barrel char, which I'm liking.
I'm getting malted barley.
On the finish too?
Yeah.
He's a barley dude, so once he finds it, he's grasped onto it for all dear life, so I'm not surprised. Yeah.
And I'm really trying to get more. I may take another taste of this because I think there is more to it. Primarily because my wife is right.
No, I mean, I'm as I'm sitting here with it on the finish, I'm starting to get dark chocolate notes. And you know how well dark chocolate goes with peanut butter. I'm just saying. So, dark chocolate notes with the peanut butter happening here and the barrel char all coming together. It's a warm, it's 116 proof. It is not a hot finish. It is a warm and pleasant finish. And it's long. It's a long finish.
The finish for me is rye spice and malted barley. So, this is kind of a funny one that the finish, I think, would appeal to a rye drinker or a bourbon drinker.
Yeah.
It's a 2-lane highway for me right now. And I think the heat is really coming from the rye spice.
Well, we're having two totally different experiences, which tells you that this could be a different experience for you as well. So you may not get what either one of us is getting. He's getting the barley and the rye spice. I'm getting pops of black pepper with dark chocolate and peanut butter and little warming spices. So we're getting a way different experience, but everyone is different. So we don't expect to get the same thing. And you may be somewhere between the two of us. right? Whether or not you'd like this. I don't know if you've been to MB Roland, but I would highly recommend it. It is such a beautiful little place. And there's so many wonderful distilleries on what I would call the Western Trail, part of the trail. It's Western Kentucky. And, in addition to, we've been talking about the Stateline Whiskey Tour, which involves Clarksville, Tennessee, MB Roland, and our next stop is going to be in Hopkinsville which is also on the Western Trail and also on the Stateline Tour. But there's also the Bard Distillery.
Yeah.
And I believe they've opened a few new distilleries too that we're needing to go back to the West to get some of those picked up. And we'll be doing that probably this summer. But MB Roland is lovely and I highly recommend it. This is good. I would recommend, tasting this if you get the opportunity when you're there. And it's a pretty good bourbon.
Okay, so as we sort of wrap this bottle up, I want to kind of lead us to what will be the next part. So we had done our tasting and we decided to go ahead and get an old fashioned. And the groups that were kind of with us had taken off. So we were sitting there drinking our old fashions and I'm sitting there thinking, well, I'm the driver. I can't pound this thing down. And it wasn't a big drink, but we ended up, our friend Cindy mentioned, why don't we take the drinks with us? I'm like, look, you can't do that, one, because it's
open container.
It's an open container, but also we are taking a little bit of a different route. There's a couple ways you can get to Casey Jones, and we ended up taking a different route.
Yeah, so that was pretty funny, and it almost made us late for our next stop. And I think we mentioned in our Clarksville stop at Old Glory that we picked up some people, right? We started talking about the Stateline Tour, and they were there at MB Roland, and they were able to jump in the tour with us at MB Roland. Otherwise, we probably would have been alone on that tour. But then they took off right away and headed to Casey Jones, and we'll talk to you about it next week for the next episode when we get to Casey Jones. But it was so much fun. It was a great day, and this was stop 2 of 3. So I can't wait to share the rest of it.
Yeah. So MB Roland, never had a bad bottle out there. I will say that. Your juice is really, really good. Your moonshine is really good. Your hospitality is really good. Your mixed drinks are really good, and your gift shop is terrific. So cheers to all of you out there. If you like what we do, hit the subscribe button, and always remember to drink responsibly. And definitely don't drink with an open container in your car. Cheers.
Cheers.